All right, hello there, YouTube. This is Mr. Pokemon 907, and welcome to another video of mine. In the very previous upload that I made in this channel, I was speaking very in much detail about Nintendo and what's going on with the stocks, and like the fact that the AI has been making things quite a fuss for just about any industry right now that's technologically based. Let me say it like that. I think this lighting definitely does need a CV. I don't think that is the issue. Let me take this off, balance it again. I don't know. Screen is giving so much. You see all the red in the corners? This ain't good. That is not a good sign. Especially in this block. But anyways, we've had a lot going on recently. There's a lot of distractions. There's like multiple topics on this world right now. As they're trying to juggle the way that people see things. I think that's way better. Alright, so I'm going to be playing some Hunter Rise Sunbreak because I've got a lot I want to talk about with this, this Monster Hunter topic altogether. It is quite the theme right now. That is perfect. That is definitely perfect. I don't want this to be too loud so you can hear me. I know I should have been setting this up already. Maybe a little demo video doing myself and stuff like that. But you're going to see what it takes here. I think that's fine. Yeah, that's dealing with the lighting a lot better than me. Alright, so main topic here is, as I was saying in my previous upload, I'm going to be making a part 2. I'm going to like further on that way more. Alright, so I spoke briefly on the fact that yes, this world is populated, and that's something that not everyone believes in the same way. Not everyone thinks the same. People have like conflicting ideas. Like people think differently, right? Not everyone thinks the exact same. So what's really going on here? We're in this age, we're like on a stepping stone. We're stepping from one era into the next. We're trying to up the ball game when it comes to technology. We're making these computers now that they're thinking. They need a brain, they need a lot of memory, they need a lot of hardware, and they're basically making things kind of complicated for the I want to do some anomaly quests. Let's just go ahead and Damio Hermitar. That's what I was fighting recently. Yes, I'm gonna go ahead. Alright, you. And I've already got my yeah, this is this that I have on my back here is as a layered armor set that you could weapon set that you can buy, you can purchase for this game. Yeah, so the AI stuff is really bad, to be honest. It's not as obvious as it can be, I do believe, and I'm going to be speaking on it. So what's happening is the brain for computers, what gives them the ability to compute, the quick compute, like ability to deal with like data and stuff like that in a split second. What makes our computers really fast these days compared to before's, computers in the past, is that they have more what is called RAM. And we've been hearing all over the place about how the AI were making issues for that market, stuff like that. It is probably, hopefully, a lot more quiet now. Now that we aren't hearing about it as much, but it is definitely a problem. Still yet, I'm quite sure, don't ask how. So what's happening there is the industries, like industries about, like Microsoft and Nintendo and that sort of stuff, they create computer devices like this one that I'm using right here. This is the Nintendo Switch 2, right? And every computer needs RAM. So the RAM is being bought up. This is just me going over what I already did in my previous video, and I'm going to go into further detail, further depth on what is really happening here, what is creating the issue, I would say, right? So as I was briefly saying also in my previous video, this Earth is really populated now in 2026. And every company, not just technology, the food industry, the every industry is pressured because we have, not everyone. There's some that are getting some sort of a, advantage off of this. The Earth has way more people on it than they even need. They're getting some boost there, but majority that go into manufacturing, that create things, that like print food. And yeah, I keep saying the word print and food. I know, go look it up, is actually the correct term. They call it printing because you are taking material and creating something else in such a fast pace, and you know the boxes, the packaging, that sort of stuff. So they call it printing instead of cooking or whatever, snacks and stuff. Literally, go look it up, right? So they're printing way more than they used to before. That's like way more expensive, right? And you'd want to know I'm running all around instead of going towards the, all of this is in due plan. I've got to collect these little annoying things here if I want my stats up. I think there's an item I can use. Uh, this game is so stressfully paced on, every minute monsters are getting stronger. You've got another level, stuff like that. So there's an item I could use that could just boost my stats right up, but instead I don't have that. I just ran around here. But back to the topic though. So these companies are so stressed that they've got to cut down on costs, right? So companies like food companies are making cheaper foods, like stuff that you think are like real, for instance, real peanut and Reese's. That's the thing of the past. Hell no, right? That's just one example. They use chemicals now that is going to taste like peanut, but is far from. They use certain oils to kind of like create the same sensation, the same taste, but it's definitely not peanut. The same thing. All right. So I'm back. I'm back at the freaking base. My health is looking there. The stamina is okay, but I definitely need more health stat. That's why I thought this a perfect game for this as well. I can just ease around, and I'm so good at this, anyway, that I could basically like go half blindfolded and like slay these master rank monsters with ease. So this is not Mario Kart. This is not Street Fighter or anything else. This is gonna be a breeze. I can easily speak here. I'm trying to say it and still perform. All right. So the the industries are pressured. I got that out the way now. I just detailed that, right? So the computer companies, the video gaming companies, they're pressured as well, obviously, and all the mining that they've got to do to get the materials needed to make these computers. That's going to be more and more difficult to get at as prices, skyrocket. They've got to manage their money, and here's the thing: obviously in any situation where things get difficult, right? The company that is better at managing itself is more than likely going to survive, right? More than likely not going to have an issue here. And that is, there it is. There it is. Not going to have an issue here. And everyone is going to, because there's what I call Sony cucks. They're going to be like, no, Sony this, Sony that. Sony has a better system. This is cost way more. So no, a system having technology and value in it never immediately means that it's going to make the money that you're seeking. All right, obviously no, it just is an expensive system, and in these days we're overpopulated. Everyone is pressured for their own money. You need a system that is reasonable. It still needs the technology, but it needs to be reasonably advanced, and that is what Nintendo is a master at. So I'm telling you, they're the ones that are heavily being invested in these days by a lot of people, because you could get this thing. This is portable. I'm playing this in handheld mode. This can look way better. I did a video before. I was playing in TV mode, but this is handheld mode now. All right, so yeah, this could look. I was planning on doing this video for like over a week now, and I never got around to it because wondering if I should turn this. Nah, I think my volume is fine. Um, I never got around to doing this and speaking about this because the quality is saying, is it going to be enough? I'm here saying that WILDS. I'm thinking what you see here. And it might not be impressive at first, but when you think about this and a performance for a game like WILDS, is definitely going to be amazing. It's going to be something around this, maybe a lot more pretty compared to what I'm showing here, because look at freaking Resident Evil Requiem and what that did with the graphics on Switch 2. Alright, so maybe a lot better than this even. Make sure I don't get launched into the dying ear by this crap. Come on, Pop, you take so long now, man. It's so much time. Alright, it's hopping up. Just short there. So I've got to balance my stamina whilst, you know, I've got to watch my stamina bar. There's so much I've got to do here. Alright, so I'm going to change my stance. Heavy hit. Let's go. Yeah. Alright, so they've been doing a lot over the past few decades to, you know, their systems are weaker, and this is something that I didn't detail in my previous video. Nintendo, what makes Nintendo the master at this is that although Nintendo had a weaker system most of the time, Nintendo in a lot of cases still made a lot more sales even compared to Sony, and that takes a lot. So imagine, that's all I've been saying. These days, now that Nintendo has a power and is competing, and still has Nintendo games like Star Fox, Super Mario, you name it, Metroid, holy shit, the sales are gonna go up, and it's not gonna go down from there, right? I'm not balancing my health, Alright, so the technology is self-preserved. That's the best way to put it, alright? Nintendo GameCube was Nintendo Wii was way weaker compared to the PlayStation 3, and Nintendo was still competing with sales because the system is fun. It had decent enough graphics. Super Mario Galaxy is one of the most gorgeous video games ever created, and that's on the Nintendo Wii. So imagine what Nintendo could do if they get serious. Donkey Kong Bonanza made records for Nintendo Switch 2, and that's a perfect example. Imagine what they could do when they get a system like this and they have it here. Yeah. So the mining and all that they need to, you know, when they need resources for like creating these systems, they gotta mine materials from the earth, the nickel, the gold, different things that are needed to make the different components. All of that is going to be even more expensive these days as the earth gets tired of you mining it all the time. It's 2026. Then they're using AI to, you know, give them, you know, to think up ways for them that, you know, it's going to take months for people to do, and AI could do in like a few days, stuff like that, right? The Switch 2 uses something they call what I call graphical sorcery called DLSS to, you know, kind of help clean up the edges on 3D models and make things look a bit more sharp and, you know, fine. And that, believe it or not, that's AI programming. There's literally an AI in the system working to do all that in real time, and it works well. And the point is, it is AI. Nintendo invested in that as well. And what Sony PlayStation 5 is doing is literally raw hardware. That's why the PlayStation 5 has so much freaking teraflops. If you go look at the specs for PlayStation 5, you might say, alright, he's an ass, because this is really a lot of power, but power isn't everything. It's also about the OS. It's also about the software, how ingeniously built it is, how good it is built. Nintendo, like, having a weaker system, you're obviously going to eventually, you know, become a master of balancing out the power and the software build and stuff like that. It's going to be perfect, right? And that's exactly what happened. So there is there's an advantage here that people, especially people who grew up in Sony, everyone has a PlayStation, they're not going to be as encouraged to admit Nintendo is a master at that. And with this AI taking up the RAM that I keep talking about, you know, the system is going to be way more dependent on memory if it's built just for power, right? Sony PlayStation cannot afford to make a weaker system, alright? So what Sony's been talking about, and a lot of people has been rumoring about recently, is potentially planning to start sketching or start planning for PlayStation 6. Now, the thing about that is, I really think it's way too early, especially in this economy. So imagine someone buys a PlayStation 5 and then the PlayStation 6 gets announced. If it's not as harsh with the Nintendo Switch, Nintendo Switch 2, and Nintendo, they're so genius. They understand the economy right now. Someone is just going to get a system to be happy with. That is why Nintendo Switch 1 is still being supported, because a lot of people who they might only be able to afford a Nintendo Switch, and a lot of games are releasing both on Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2. But there are a lot of games that they're going to be PlayStation 5 exclusive, or they're just not coming out. Even if they do on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 4 is being ruled out. People are getting PlayStation 5s. And yeah, PlayStation 5 Pro has all the ray tracing, everything else, awesome graphics, you name it. But like I keep saying, graphics and power is not just about that, it's about the games. Nintendo has that advantage. Alright? So that subtopic is out the way as well. Alright? So eventually, over time, you have a company, I'm talking about Sony PlayStation here, a company that stresses only on graphics. The games do not belong to them. And, the money is going to be shorter and shorter, because less and less people are going to be buying these things. We're going to be buying PlayStations after they find out that, Nintendo's doing so well. Resident Evil Requiem, I'm going to call it again, because I don't know why. I'm not one of those brains. I might have a lot of haters, no. But I'm not one of the people that freak out about these, anything that has evil in the name. Like, I don't know. I maybe I'm alien in that sense. I'm not freaking out as much about Resident Evil. Like, some people just go gawk for any game that has blood and gore in it, and it's like, that's sort of like all creepy and horror. I don't have a problem with them. I mean, I would pick up a Resident Evil game and play it just because it's something different from playing Mario Kart or Super Smash or Street Fighter all day. It's something different. But everyone is going nuts about how good Resident Evil Requiem is on Switch 2. And that is the point here. People is really sad. People like me, you're really intelligent. You can see things that people can't see as yet. People do need proof before they start believing. And by the time they believe it, it's already too late, because we have all these stock issues going on. Yeah, my weapon definitely needs some sharpening. Alright, I'm talking and just slashing away. I gotta sharpen this thing. Alright, so the system is powerful. We now know that for a fact, right? Or people that know started to notice that. Alright, and it is a freaking Nintendo tablet. It's a literal tablet, and it's doing all of this like in real time, powerful, even in handheld mode. Resident Evil Requiem, it runs at 60 frames per second. For you techies out there, you know what that means. 60 hertz in handheld mode with decent graphics. Resident Evil Requiem, alright? So that puts Sony PlayStation in a serious debt, because Sony PlayStation, what their sale factor always was, is that, oh, our games look way better. We have way better performance. Holy shit. Switch 2 has a 120 hertz, right? 120 hertz. I'm going to get to the reason that I chose to play all of a sudden a Monster Hunter game as well. There's some Monster Hunter news. I just want to say something before Monster Hunter announces. I hope I don't get into any trouble. Anyone, like, I don't get, like, negative attention for doing this, because I might totally be correct. Resident, got me saying Resident Evil, right? Monster Hunter WILDS at the very ending of the game. I'm not going to give spoilers. You don't have to run away from the video. You don't have to do that. But the very ending of the game, I'm just going to say something that I noticed. There's a monster in Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, and even in this game called Gormagala, that existed in Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate on the Nintendo 3DS. And no spoilers, but there's a monster in Monster Hunter WILDS as a part of the main story that is literally, I'd say, like a build off of Gormagala, right? And I think that's definitely saying something here. Capcom already officially announced in one of their update streams that they're working on a DLC for Monster Hunter Wilds, and it's gonna, it's gonna be a DLC, so maybe new areas, something of the sort. And in all of them that we've had so far, it's been some sort of like entirely new area, something of the sort. But as those of us who've been playing video games for enough years, we would know that it is only common sense for these companies to. I'm gonna delve into this topic and then jump back into the other one, because that's a kind of heavy, and I found myself slowing off and talking about it, for reason as well. But we know that companies try to mix it up, try to keep us interested. Play with our memories in a sense, our nostalgia. Like if you're a fan of Monster Hunter, you'd be like, oh my god, alright, I do know how to fight these things, and I wasn't focusing enough at all. Alright, gotcha. Alright. Dodge, gotcha. Good. Alright, so what I do believe, because for this Sunbreak, we went to this entirely new area. We saw the kingdom and stuff like that. And yeah, I'm gonna go somewhere else after that, after this fight here, after I finish this thing off. Holy shit. I'm watching from an angle. Just give me like just give me the benefit of the doubt. I usually say these things and barely take damage and stuff like that, but like I've got this camera set up here and everything, and I'm watching this screen on this handheld from an angle, and I'm all the way back here sitting down. So just give me a break. But as I was saying though, like the series, just about any video game series, just to keep people interested, it kind of mix things up. And I don't think it's going to be a new area. I really don't think so. I've been seeing a lot of hints within the game of Monster Hunter Wilds that tells me I do really believe they're going to be taking us back to. Then there's that DLC, a character from Monster Hunter Wilds greets us and we do a mission. That's something in the official game already, but it's just a mission. Ah, shit. I'm stunned. I don't usually get hit by that either, but I kind of forgot about that. My bad. Ah, no. So stupid. Everything is A button in this game. It's A to call the pup. It's A to fish. It's A to pick up items. That kind of, this way some people don't really like this game here. I could see I don't have my brightness looking too up there, the settings and stuff. I found after the updates that we had for like certain devices recently, everything is different, like including Switch 2. I'm gonna talk about that in another video as well. But yeah, so I've been seeing that. I think that's definitely what's gonna happen. I'm more than likely correct. Like people who know me personally know that whenever I speak about video games, movies, anything of the sort, and I have theories, I'm like 80% correct. 80% likely to be correct, and that is a lot every time. So I'm way too good at reading things. I should be making, my dream as well is to be a director of sorts. Like I want to create, like write for film, write for video games. I'm good enough to do so for sure. I'm good enough for that. So that's one of my aims in life, to be a director of sorts. I'm way too good at this. So more than likely we're going to be going back to Valhalla and all that kind of stuff, like from 4 Ultimate and the Nintendo 3DS. So you might be saying, why aren't you playing Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate then? I could be, but that's a freaking MU, and I have reasons right now. No way. I'd rather play it on something that's gonna be, definitely working. I have, yeah. Come on, gotcha. Oh, someone got a trap. It wasn't me then. Oh, there we go. That was kind of quick, wasn't it? And I wasn't even focusing. So imagine if I was in full focus and like just going at this thing. Like my fights are dang amazing. I think I'm gonna be doing some of those. No speaking. I'm really like hesitant on that because of the the area that I do live, these people is something else. Like there's some like we've got dishonest people in every part of the earth, but it isn't really easy to detail. I've got my reasons, but anyway, yeah. So that's that. All right, and back to the topic on computers, RAM, Sony. Yeah. So stocks are bad. If you watch that video, the previous video, and then this one, the video is going to make a lot more sense. And I have my reason for, like speaking like this in this video, not enough detail. You'd have to watch my previous video and then this one after to kind of catch the drift, because I'm not going to be saying everything I said over again. It makes no sense. All right. So the stocks are bad for Sony. Sony doesn't have a great stock right now, and that affects sales. That affects the amount of systems that they're going to have available. They even went as far as beginning to rent out PlayStation systems instead of people buying them like full price. They're renting them out, and that's a terrible sign. That's scary for any person who's serious about Sony PlayStation. I'm totally correct. It's kind of sad, but is inevitable at this point. What's happening to freaking Sony is kind of sad actually. So they've got idea to create a freaking PlayStation 6 right now. The indie plans, script, everything else. Maybe 2027, but I do believe if Sony goes ahead and creates a freaking PlayStation 6, Sony is going to be committing suicide, and I'm going to be dropping the details that eventually would give you the reason for why and how that is suicide for Sony PlayStation. All right. So we've got all this economy influx going on. Too many people on the damn earth. Companies are struggling. So sales, people have just about enough money for food. Like if you've got before, right? If you bought a pack of Chips Ahoy, those cookies were big. Now when you buy a pack of anything, it's like mostly ear. You buy drink and it's like total shit in a can. You buy exactly. So like people buy way less snacks now, or way more, just so that they can have a proper munch like hell. So they're spending way more money on food. If they've got a big family, it's like way more harsh on them. So let's see. I was gonna come here and see if I get a mark on what I gotta do next here. I gotta get that Violet Mizu Mantle. That's just my personal play, not really this video, I'd say. But something else I want to talk about as well is going to be very interesting for some of you. Like, I see nobody on the internet speaking about this, and I find that really weird, because the Monster Hunter community has a lot of players who are really serious about the lore and stuff like that. I don't even see Gaijin Hunter on YouTube. That's his channel name, speaking about it, and that's crazy. That's freaking crazy. All right. So I'm gonna be doing a normal expedition here in Master Rank, and I'm gonna take myself to this area. This is only available in the DLC when you get the Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak expansion. All right. I'm gonna take some people with me. That's my favorite too. That's the best duo I found in this game, like no lie, like perfect unison. You've got a healer, and then you've got this crazy, literally crazy gunner as well on your side. Like perfect team. All right, perfect. So this area here, the Monster Hunter, I find it interesting that that game has been announced right after this has been, confirmed to be, completed. We've got WILDS now, and all of a sudden there's Monster Hunter Stories 3 Twisted Reflection. All right. So this area right here that I'm in, called the Citadel, when you begin the Monster Hunter Stories 3 story, this is no spoiler. These are no spoilers. This is just speculation at this point. Anyone could say, but I started to notice something really grim. All right, and it is scary, and also this world that these hunters live in, this isn't really a hunt right now. This expedition can do as I want. I can just collect items. That's what this is. Awesome. return from like Monster Hunter Gen and other Monster Hunter games. You can just go on an expedition and gather what you want. So I'm just going to be speaking about this. This area is where the kingdom is that Luchika, Fiorine, and whomever else briefly speak about throughout the story. Is about the fact that their kingdom has been destroyed in the recent past, like decimated, and I'm quite sure it's an elder dragon, and we're going to be seeing details about that in the game, because the believe it or not, that castle area that your character begins in Monster Hunter Stories 3 is literally this area. Look at this decimation. Look at this freaking place. This is the same castle. This is going uphill. This used to be a pretty gorgeous terrain outside the castle. Used to be, right? I don't know if you're playing Monster Hunter Stories 3 right now, handheld on Switch 2, whilst watching this and trying to compare. You're going to see it right away. It is so freaking sad. And out here is the when you that expanse, when you start to go downhill, like where you meet the yin cuckoos and stuff like that. Most of the life, obviously, after decimation like that would like run away or something of the sort, right? I don't think, yeah, I can't go that far in. So like the castle was obliterated, the kingdom was totally destroyed, and we were left with these ruins, right? Terrible, literally terrible. So this citadel is that exact kingdom that we begin in, and seeing how gorgeous that freaking castle is in it Monster Hunter Stories 3 and comparing it to this dank field, man. Look at this freaking place. It's a Velcona. No ways, I'm good. I'm good. I just killed something at least for one video, and I'm fine. I'm definitely fine, man. So I'm gonna run up. Let's see, right here. There's a particular area I want to be showing here as Arzuros. I'm not sure about the tree, but there, the tree has like some poisonous. It is like a it's like an environmental hazard for the monsters in the area as well, stuff like that. I'm peaking around 30 something minutes. I should really end this video soon enough, because device limits. I don't want to make my video too long, but yeah, definitely two things I want to speak about. I think in Monster Hunter Wilds DLC, we're gonna be returning to Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate's area more than likely, as well as the fact that Monster Hunter Stories 3, the very kingdom that we fight for in Rise, this takes place obviously then after the story of what 3 Monster Hunter Stories 3, and it would make sense. We can raid monsters in this. You just saw me raiding a freaking monster and using it to take that crab down earlier. This is basically a Monster Hunter Stories game, but with the hunters of that world instead of the raiders. This is a Monster Hunter Stories and a Monster Hunter game all fused into one, and I'm not surprised that they turned around and made a Monster Hunter Stories game that ties in with this story. Yeah, so all around here, this is the frozen hillside above the castle. Is making sense now, isn't it? Right, you're starting to see it now, aren't you? It is sad. This is so freaking sad. This place was decimated. So whatever the hell that Elder Dragon was that maybe awoke, I don't know if we're gonna get I don't know if this is like the bad timeline and we're like what some video games do. I don't know that much yet. But I don't know if we're gonna get two timelines where there's like this didn't happen and this is the bad timeline that we're playing in Rise Sunbreak, where all this decimation happened, and there's gonna be a happy ending or something also. That would like kind of lift our spirits again. All of this stuff going on in recent games and movies about this multiverse thing. Everything references in multiverse now, so it's possible they could have multiple timelines, and this is just the bad one. I'm hoping for that because this is sad as hell. Imagine the amount of people that died or passed away or were suddenly uh not in a nice way relocated from their home. This is sad. This is sad. Let me see if I can use my the first person view in a sense. Just look at this place, man. This thing is finished. This is the castle inward, like the innards of the castle here. All of this, excuse that pop. All of this then also was like part of the castle as well, but it's like a ruinous land now because you put down the foundation for any building and you build from there. All of this used to be castle. Like holy shit, right? Whoa. Decimation. Kind of cruel, isn't it? Very cruel. Dang, this is dark. All right. So yeah, I'm not telling people, you might have the money for it and you say, well, you don't even have to sweat it. You could get a PlayStation as well and you're going to support them. I'm not telling you that. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you to go ahead and not buy a PlayStation if you can. But if you've got money enough, get a Nintendo Switch 2. You would not regret it. I'm telling you, get a Nintendo Switch 2. Do it, do it, do it. Do not buy a PlayStation right now, at least in the 2026 until 2027 mark, because what is going on right now and the titles, you're gonna have a really good time still with your handheld mode, dock mode, Nintendo Switch 2. And I do think they're gonna be, even if you're not all about that, you want something more cheap. I briefly mentioned in my previous video that I do believe there is going to be a Nintendo Switch Lite, just like we had Nintendo Switch 2. Excuse me, a little ear there, not sure at all where that came from. So yeah, like I was trying to show you, let me get a high peak here, view of the waters in this area, see if I can. Yeah, the waters that you go swimming around in and stuff like that. There's like just the outskirts of the castle, and they had like this gorgeous waterway like leading into the ocean around. I can't get up there. Wish I could. Place is pretty. So if there's a demo right now live for, in case you didn't know that, it's so possible you could be a viewer on my video and not have known. The Monster Hunter Stories 3 has a free demo now live on the Nintendo eShop. You can download it for Switch 2. Awesome game, awesome. I burnt through they give you a max level that you could the monsters and monsties, could call them monsties in Monster Hunter Stories games. But I got my monster in like a few hours only at max, like just collecting. What I did, I ran around and collected every item in that area. That map is kind of huge, right? But I'm that sort of gamer I am. I collected every item, then I, stored them, then I, fought whatever in the area, then I collected every item again. I scoured the entire map, just for the fun of it, scoping out the area, other reasons, seeing as much as I could, seeing how it operates, and that game is awesome. I can recommend it. I kind of started Monster Hunter Stories 2 back when it was, the demo, and they just dropped it there. um, but I played all the way through the demo, like not the story of it, but I played all the way through the level caps and stuff like that. Like in one playthrough, no time at all. I'm thinking about doing a video, but until I get my camera, all the ISO and all that I'll need to do, all set again for this, because this can look way better than this. The actual system right now, it looks times better. It looks gorgeous even for a handheld. People show you all these pixelated, they're not Nintendo fans at all if they're showing these pixelated ugly screens and saying this is how it looks. No. When you have the actual system in your hand, you'll be shocked. Even for Switch games, they're still kind of gorgeous in handheld. Switch 2 does this part, like the backwards compatibility, really well. I'm just going to get my items. So yeah, that's it. I'm going to drop this here at around 40 minutes. I definitely got to do that. I don't want to make my video to end up a bit too, I've got good enough network bandwidth, stuff like that right now, at least. But, you never overdo it, who's going to watch a 40-minute video for nothing at all, right? My videos are decent, but, and I speak about things in here or every time. If you haven't, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me see. Let me get this mission over with here. I got my items, whatever I wanted to do. Showed you what I wanted to. I was gonna go into the castle. Maybe there's something in there that kind of proves detail that it is the same castle in Monster Hunter Stories 3. But no, I'm just gonna leave that for you to find on your own, because the demo, yeah, no, demo definitely doesn't take you here. What was I thinking? It takes you to the volcano area and the initial first area, I think. Yeah. So the demo, like I was just thinking, takes you to, alright, come on. Alright, the demo takes you to the Shrine Ruins right here, the Shrine Ruins area, the jungle, if I'm not mistaken, and the caverns, the lava caverns. Yeah, I think that's it. And that's a lot for freaking demo. I'd definitely say that's a lot, man. So if you enjoyed my video, if it wasn't too, too bright in color and like odd looking, it doesn't hurt your eyes, this area might, like, bad. Leave a like, drop a comment if you do, please, and as well, yeah, stay tuned. Until next upload, I'm going to be speaking more about Mario Kart and what I think is going to happen soon enough. In my playthroughs, I've been speaking all over my face about it. I'm going to make a detailed video on it, what I think is going to happen. Stay tuned for that. I'm going to be finishing my Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Like I said, I say that all the time, and I never got around to finishing. Then I'm going to be starting Pokemon series. Fire Red just launched on Nintendo Switch. That's really weird, I know, but it's been that many years, it's like 30 years of Pokemon by now, and the generations are being respected, and stuff like that. The Fire Red, that's Generation 1 Pokemon games, remakes for them. Then Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Generation 2, then Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire. So I'm going to be playing those instead of playing through all the titles I can. It's going to take weeks. That could take weeks, maybe months. But I'm going to play through the remakes, and there's only like 4 of them right now, believe it or not. There's Fire Red and Leaf Green. There is Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, but I wouldn't really call those remakes per se. They're remakes of Yellow, I do believe. And then there is the Heart Gold, Soul Silver, like I just said, from the Nintendo DS. Fire Red and Leaf Green was a Game Boy Advance game. Then there is a Mega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, remakes of the Game Boy Advance ones. The original ones, Ruby and Sapphire, Mega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire on the Nintendo 3DS. Then there is, after those, Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl that we most recently had. The remakes for the DS Gen 4. Alright? So Fire Red and Leaf Green is Gen 1 remake. Heart Gold, Soul Silver is Gen 2. Gold and Silver from the Game Boy Color. Red and Green. Green was the Japanese name instead of blue, in case you're wondering what that's about. Alright? So, yeah. And then there was Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby. Those are remakes of Gen 3. And then we have Gen 4. So Gen 5 is next in line for remake. Black and White, Pokemon Black, Pokemon White. And I do believe maybe after Winds and Waves, we're going to have info on that. So hyped. So yeah, some more Pokemon speech. But I'm going to be finishing my Mario Kart first. And that should be fun. So yeah, until next upload, stay tuned. And stay safe these days, people. Like, these days are dying crazy, man. Stay safe.